a little bit of a break. It's been 18 months since we first started these calls, and it's great to see you, Mayor, and you, Sue. And we have a number of panelists with us this week, providing updates on topics such as COVID health for the city and the region, also access to capital and business assistance, as well as programs that are coming up in the next few weeks and months that may be of interest to you. So I know we still have panelists joining us, and we still have participants joining us as well. However, this is being recorded and will be distributed to the almost 1,000 people who have participated in these calls since we started. And so I'm going to get started, if you would. I do want to just acknowledge our partners who are helping to promote these workshops. And they include the Avon Industrial Park Association, the Bridgewater Business Association, the Brockton Area NAACP, the Campello Business Association, the Montello Business Association, the East Bridgewater, Randolph, Stoughton, and Pembroke Chambers of Commerce, as well as the Norwell Chamber, the Haitians United, and the Massachusetts Small Business Development Center network, as well as the South Shore Women's Business Network. So I want to thank all of them. Also want to acknowledge Catherine Schofield, who's our new employee at the Chamber, and she's coordinating these. As many of you know, Lexi moved on and moved to a family business in California. A lot of family businesses nowadays are looking for help, and especially from their family. And so she had moved on. So we're happy to have Catherine with us. She's a recent graduate and is doing a phenomenal job, started August 1st. So thank you, Catherine. Want to, I think, get right into the program. But before I do, there is a Q&A section down below. If you have questions for any of the panelists, please just put them in the Q&A or the chat. Most of our panelists are familiar and experienced with checking those and writing out answers or providing links, and or oftentimes getting back to you after the program to discuss things further. So at this point, Mayor, good to see you. You look good.
Thanks, Chris.
I know you've been busy and out and about. Not only are you managing a city of now more than 100,000 since the census numbers came out, but also been bringing on some new leadership members to your team and managing a pandemic and running for office all over again. The primary is a week from, well, it's next Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Yeah, not a week from. It's Tuesday.
That's right. It's just Tuesday. So I know you're a busy person. Thanks for being with us. What's going on? Where are we? We all felt like we were out of this thing, and now we're seeing some spiking and whatnot.
Yeah, no, first of all, Chris, thank you for your leadership and your team at Metro South Chamber of Commerce and all your members. And it's great to see Susan and Margaret. And I know Eli is going to be joining us, and Sue Joss, who's just been unbelievable during the pandemic, and her team at Neighborhood Health Center. Yeah, I mean, it looked good. On July 12th, we only had 12 active cases of COVID-19, and then it ramped up again, and the Delta breakthrough cases were real. And today we're 198 active cases in Brockton. We have lost more people, so we're at 438 dead in Brockton because of that deadly virus. We're at 15,387 cases. So what does that mean to us? Well, I have done a mandatory mask in all city buildings. Vaccinated or not vaccinated employees and visitors, again, out of caution. DESE, of course, Department of Education, elementary and secondary, has indicated that we have to have masks, and we are working with Superintendent Mike Thomas again. And when you look at the number of students, never mind staff, it's a city in itself, right? Brockton High, I mean, it's huge, one of the largest public high schools east of the Mississippi. So we're continuing to track the data on a daily basis. Dr. Rick Herman, MD, is our medical consultant, as you know, and Montesir heads up our Board of Health. And I can't say anything but awesome accolades for Sue Joss and Maria Celli at Neighborhood Health Center. And again, Good Sam and the VA and Signature, we continue to work in collaboration. And that's what it is, right? We have to continue to work together on this. And we were hopeful that it was going to dissipate and go away, but that's not the case right now. But life continues and business continues. So My Open for Business initiative has been very, very successful. We're having another forum in Brockton on the 21st. So I know Chris was there and his team, and I really look forward to it. Give you a little, I'll give it quiet because it's embargoed right now, but we have a My Civic app coming that's going to be a game changer for Brockton, and other communities are working with us on that as well. So I do have Lieutenant Governor Polito and Secretary Mike Keneally coming in later this month. I am buying the first beer in October when Brockton Beer Company opens up. Again, one beer, Cooney, not two, just one. But we need to continue to work together, make sure that all the rebuilding and repivoting and rebranding happens in a collaborative manner. I am a candidate for re-election with 2-year terms for mayor and city council, school committee, and that's just the way it is. But we need to continue to just work for the best interest, not just Brockton, but what's good for Brockton is good for all neighboring communities. So I continue to do my regional task force with neighboring communities. I'm going to have Chris involved in that, the next one, and I'd love to have Margaret and Susan join us as well. And we do a regional Plymouth County task force as well. So it's all hands on deck. I'm the biggest cheerleader for the city that I grew up in, but we need to continue to be diligent, vigilant, but at the same time, let's listen and learn. To be effective leaders, it doesn't matter if you run the Chamber of Commerce or the City of Brockton. To be an effective leader, you have to listen and learn and collaborate and work together. So let's keep going.
Agreed, Mayor. Thank you for saying that. Sycamore in Maine, I mean, that was an interesting and wonderful celebration that day. That is, of course, the old Kresge's building. We had quite a few VIPs in the city touring that facility and celebrating the construction of that beautiful building. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank Rob Corley and Tim Doherty, of course, over at NeighborWorks. NEI was the contractor, and one thing that I did, Chris, and I know you supported it, and I thank you, is we didn't stop construction during COVID in Brockton, and it's paid dividends, you know, and it's not just downtown, even though downtown, you see more cranes right now in the history of Brockton, it's right now, but also Campello, Montello, the Village, all around the city, right? And we're a large geographic area. So yeah, Sycamore Grove, the old Kresge's on the corner of Frederick Douglass, which used to be High Street and Main Street. It's a beautiful, sleek building. It's going to be mixed use, right? We're going to have the, as I said, the Brockton Beer, which is a Black-owned business. It's awesome. It's the only brewery in the Commonwealth owned by a conglomerate of minority business owners, which are awesome Brocktonians. But also it's state-of-the-art residential housing. And also NeighborWorks is looking to do transit-oriented down in Campello section of the city of Brockton as well. So, you know, we spoke to Mass Development and Mass Housing recently, and Brockton is on the map. It's on the radar, right? And I've said this before, and I'm going to continue to say it. People that are priced out of Quincy and Braintree and Dorchester and Southie and Charlestown are coming to Brockton, and they're jumping on the train. They're getting into South Station in 35 minutes. My goal is don't jump on the train. I want them to live and work here in Brockton and play in Brockton. So let's continue to do it, roll up the sleeves, and let's get the job done. That's what we need to do.
Thank you, Mayor. We're definitely benefiting from your energy and expertise, so thank you.
Thanks,
We're telling people it's better in Brockton, and it's better in many ways. Things have improved dramatically, and in many instances, it's better to build in Brockton right now because of what you just talked about. The construction hasn't stopped. There's a lot of buildings that can be renovated, and we have all the infrastructure that anyone could need. So I know Rockland Trust is the major funder for that building that we're talking about. We're going to hear from them shortly, but great. It's great to see Grant here. So I want to move over to Sue Joss, who is going to just give us a quick update on the health situation and where especially in light of the president's press conference yesterday, you know, what's happening in terms of people's access to testing and vaccinations in the city.
Thanks, Chris, and thanks for having me as usual. So the president's announcement took us a little bit by surprise. He went further than many of us thought he would on the mandate. So we're still reading through it just as everyone else is, but I will tell you that at the health center, we did mandate vaccine a week ago. So we announced it last Tuesday, so it's been a week and a half. We had been pretty stuck at about 72, 73% of our employees being vaccinated, and with the Delta variant and some breakthrough cases, including breakthrough among our staff, we really felt we needed to go ahead with the mandate. And breakthrough cases mean testing positive for COVID after being fully vaccinated. So that's a disturbing trend that has been vastly increased by the Delta variant. So as usual, Dr. Rick Herman shared his slides so that I didn't have to create them himself. He's the mayor's COVID consultant, and he's amazing. So let me just bring up his slides to show you quickly. Can you all see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this is the breakthrough cases statistics. So you see about, this was about a few days ago, but anyway, 49,000 or so Brockton residents had been fully vaccinated. And of those, 272 breakthrough cases had been detected. 5 of those were hospitalized, and 1 of them has passed away. Understand that was a patient well into his late 80s who had a lot of other things going on. So it's small numbers, but it's not insignificant numbers. And if you look over to the left on the lighter gray, you'll see roughly the same percentages of breakthrough cases, hospitalizations, and deaths. So 162 people have died in Massachusetts who have been fully vaccinated. So I think that's a number that takes people by surprise, and really I think is what led to our decision to go ahead with a mandate. And I'm guessing the president's decision as well, because this just isn't going to end until we start insisting that everyone be vaccinated. These variants are going to keep popping up in the unvaccinated population. So, oh, there we are. Sorry, I got a little bit behind myself here. So you'll see over to the right is the most recent trend. And if we were talking to you in the middle to late June, we hit a day at the health center, I think the city did as well, of 0 cases, and that stayed really, really low for a while. And we almost were all starting to think it's over, and we can, stop worrying about it and start worrying about other types of diseases at the health center that had been untreated because patients wouldn't come in. But then you see the spike, and for a little bit, what there in July and to the end of July.
I'm not sure we can see that slide, Sue.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go out and back in.
Okay.
What were you seeing just then?
Just the spreadsheet with the deaths and the cases.
Oh, all right. Well, let me try it again. Can you see a graph now?
Yes, now we can see it. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Anyway, that's over to the right. You'll see that it did spike up. The percentage spike at one point at the end of July was at least as high as any spike we saw during the rest of the peaks of the pandemic. The good news is, if you look over here to the right, it does seem to have leveled off. Dr. Herman mentioned to me yesterday that there does appear to be a little bit of a Labor Day spike, which isn't showing yet on this graph. But overall, it seems to be leveling off in the mid-20s cases per day. Next, can you see the new slide now?
Yes, hospitalized cases 2021.
Yes.
Okay.
So the green line across the bottom, that's at 5%. What that means is that when the graph is at that level, 5% of the hospital beds in Brockton are being used for COVID. The target that the hospitals have had all along is to try to keep, or to hope to keep, COVID cases in the hospital under 5%. Because at that level, it's very manageable for the hospitals, and they can keep up, and not a huge impact on their other services they're providing. Once you get up to the red, to the 15%, then they're making hard decisions about canceling elective things and really getting into crisis mode, transferring patients to other cities, that kind of thing. So you can see right now, Brockton hospitalizations are right at the 5%. So they're doing okay. The really good news is that deaths are down, and you'll see 2 in August. I think September's not on here, and the news isn't quite as good for September. There have been at least a couple over the past few days, but you'll see that deaths really dropped dramatically. And so we think that's in large part because people have gotten vaccinated, and the numbers for Brockton keep improving. So that some of the breakthrough cases are not as traumatic from a health perspective, and the population that's getting the disease is on average younger.
Okay.
Okay, so this is who's testing positive. Again, a spike up and now a little bit a spike down. When Brockton goes over 4% plus has several cases, it gets into the red. So you see 2 weeks in the red there. And then down on the graph now, you're seeing 3.5%-ish positive, which puts us into the yellow. And then this is not quite current. This is from Wednesday, but this is the overall dashboard that you see on the city's website every single day. And you'll see it is in the yellow. New cases that day were 7. If you look down to the vaccination in the lower right, the lower left corner, the gray, 72.7% of the Brockton population that's eligible, meaning age 12 and over, are vaccinated, but 59% are fully vaccinated. So that 13.5% that's only had 1 shot are still, we consider very much still at risk. And then 14 patients in the hospital that day, and I believe it's about the same today. This is your vaccination breakdown based on Fuller Park.
That's for the city of Brockton.
This is all city of Brockton, right? And then this is by age. So this is really good news for the older population in Brockton. Anyone 50 and up, it's close to 90 and then over 90%. And then the numbers for the younger populations are actually starting to catch up a little bit. So that's encouraging.
That's great.
And then that's the slide I started off with. So that's what I've got. That's what I've
So
got.
Sue, in terms of vaccination sites, can you fill us in on what the latest is? I know we were at Shaw Center, and also testing. How do people get tested? How do people get vaccinated right now?
Okay, so right now at the health center, we are mostly focused on vaccinating our own patients because we found that our own patients are lagging very far behind the rest of the city. We have 35,000 patients. And also because the Board of Health has done such an awesome job in picking up the vaccination bandwagon. If you look at the city's website, which I noticed that somebody has already posted, Emma posted it, Brockton, Mass COVID website. There are every weekend, I think they're in the middle of a 48 vaccination clinics in 48 days campaign. So they're everywhere doing the vaccination. If you just check that website, you'll find something almost every day. And they're going to barbershops and all kinds of little places. So that's great. For the health center's community role, we are reestablishing the testing site at the Shaw Center. We had shut it down for a little while just because the need wasn't so great and we were able to accommodate at our main site. But we believe that we're opening on September 20th for asymptomatic testing.
So September 20th.
Yes. And before then, we're still doing it at the main health center site. So anybody can still go now.
Okay.
And then we're going to keep at our main site the symptomatic testing because that's just more complicated. And we don't want to move that one off site.
Well, great. Thank you, Sue, for all you're doing and all your staff's doing to help keep us safe and get us vaccinated. I know there are many questions that are going to be asked in our next session about the president's press conference and about testing in particular, whether the government's going to provide those to private employers in industries that he outlined, or whether they're going to have to be covered in some other way. He did talk extensively about that, but there's a lot of question marks from private businesses in terms of how testing can be accomplished in a easy manner. So thank you for the update of where we are. And it does seem to me that many organizations have paused their return to in-person events. This was supposed to be live, for example. We've had several workshops at the chamber pushed to October as a result, or put online. And it does seem like people are trying to be safe and just trying to get through this. And hopefully by October 1st, we'll see an improvement and we can kind of move on in the right direction. So thank you for everything you're doing. Want to move on to Margaret LaForest. I know Margaret, you're with Mass Office of Business Development, along with Susan Whitaker. I've seen both of your faces quite often recently, along with the secretaries for the governor. and some really rich dialogue. And I use that term in both ways. There's a lot of money that's being put aside from revenues that are up for the state, which is really nice. And as well as the federal money that came in to help deal with the recovery. So the floor is yours, Margaret, for any updates that you can share.
Yes, thank you very much, Chris. I love when the Baker-Polito administration has money to dole out, and we're actually on waiting on that date to firm up for the Lieutenant Governor and Secretary Keneally to come out to Brockton, because Sue and I will be joining that day and visiting your businesses. And you've been our community that has been most consistent with your webinars and your small business support. So we often brag about Brockton. And as you know, when we took this job, we were given a directive by the governor and the LG that said, Brockton, you represent the greater Boston region, but Brockton is really, Quincy, Brockton, Greater Boston as a region, are your home bases. And so we really enjoy the time we do get to go down there. And also want to thank you, Chris, because for our agency, you lead one of our regional economic development organizations, or REDOs. That program has been level funded most years. It's $1 million funding line, yet this year there's $6 million. And so we're working with you. You put in a successful regional pilot program grant. You adapted the Love My Local campaign. Really Brockton has been such a strong partner. And Mayor, to your point, it's that regional leadership, the partnerships and the collaboration, and you've set the cadence for it. And Brockton has really recognized and stepped up its game. And we notice that. And we're spending our time and happy to be invited. And every time we get invited, we're going to say yes to come down to you. So we want communities in Brockton to engage the various resources, and they do. And, Sue and I often have follow-up calls with companies. So I do have, so I'm happy to hear, Chris, you're coming back in with the redo, looking probably for a little bit more money and some additional programming and support. But you, as a leader of 10 plus communities that connect to Brockton, represent some regional economic development. And it's great to have it based in Brockton in the Metro South Chamber. So we appreciate your partnership too. The Love My Local, or My Local MA campaign, that additional has received funding. So what else we're going to be able to do, what programs we roll out, those have not yet been announced, but I know Kiko Orell, the Executive Director of Mass Office of Travel and Tourism, is working diligently on that. When I have more info, we'll make sure that Brockton knows how to connect with that funding source. 2 programs right now. You've heard a lot of talk with us about the Mass Growth Capital Team and all the small business support they've pushed out. We have funded 2 more programs through that agency. And one, they both require small businesses to connect with technical assistance. I'll put the links to each of these programs in the chat. You need to get a TA provider, a technical assistance provider. There's a whole slew of TA providers you can choose from. And then they're like your wingman through the program. So one of them is about digital empowerment. What is it that your digital needs are? So it's about $5,000. And that could be, we need a new website. We need e-commerce on our website. We need new technology for our restaurant. It's what are your digital empowerment needs, and within that $5,000 connected through a TA provider to work with you. The second, and this is one I often brag about, because Prava was such a success in Brockton, and Patronicity was the organization that worked with Prava on that crowdfunding source. So we are also partnering with Patronicity for another program, another $5,000 grant that the state will come in with the $5,000, and Patronicity will help support crowdsource funding for the match requirement of $5,000. So to be able to support businesses, and they too will partner with a technical assistance provider. So a lot of information there. Most of the details are on the website. I'm going to connect you with that. And of course, welcome your businesses to contact me or Sue for questions around it. And I know that Sue wanted to talk about some of the hiring resources, especially, now that kind of summer's over, the federal benefits over, what resources do we have? You have a great Mass Hire Career Center there. So I guess I'll pass it to Sue, and of course, welcome any Q&A for you.
Thank you, Margaret. Hi, Sue.
Hi, thanks, Margaret. So an organization that you have heard of, perhaps if you haven't, you should, is Commonwealth Corporation. So they're a quasi-public workforce development agency, and they help provide a variety of different training program offerings, and they coordinate with various partners. So one of the grants that businesses need to be aware of, they have workforce training fund program grants. These grants are for businesses who pay into unemployment insurance, because that's where this fund comes from. So there's a larger grant, which you can apply for up to $250,000 for training your incumbent workforce, and you can design it any way you like. There is an info session that's coming up that if you're interested in learning more about that, I can put that link in the chat. It's going to be on September 17th at 10 a.m. What's new as of July 1st is the Express training program. So for businesses who are smaller than 100 employees, you can go online and look at the various course offerings that are there, and you can select from that course. You apply for the grant, and then upon completion, you may receive 100% reimbursement up to $3,000 per person per course. This is brand new. This used to be a 50% reimbursement rate. And now it is still 50% for businesses who have 100 employees or more. But for those that are smaller, it's a free training resource. And one thing I just want to point out that I love this little workaround is, let's say that you have a training provider that you want to employ for your staff, but that isn't on the list on the website. You can request them to put themselves on the website and to become a registered vendor, and then you can apply for the grant. So there's a workaround. Even if the training that you're looking for isn't there, you can make that happen. So the other piece that they're working on, Commonwealth Corporation, has a Partnerships for Recovery talent access portal. And so for businesses who may be looking for, a substantial number of hires that require a certain skill set, they can go to this portal and identify existing pipelines of partnerships that are producing these kinds of talent. So for example, carpentry, lab technicians, hospitality, transportation, information technology, all of these and more programs are being offered across the Commonwealth. And so if you have those needs, you can get connected with those partners to talk about, hey, who's graduating next, and get this talent pipeline, into your business. Additionally, let's say you go and you have a need that isn't being met there, you can reach out with one of their technical assistance team members and let them know about your training needs, that you have certain demands that can't be met, and that you need a program that can be created to help address the needs of your industry. So, and you can also say, if you've got a training provider who is doing a great job and should be offering one of these things around the Commonwealth, you can also recommend a trainer who could then maybe take advantage of one of the grants that they offer. So I just, I think that's got to be front of mind. And then just to remind everyone, Mass Hire Career Centers are there for both people who are looking for a job and for businesses who are looking to hire. And so you can put your job postings online for free, and you can also get service at any Mass Career Center. There's one right in Greater Brockton. So you can get help with resume writing, prepping for an interview, looking for your job, help with your job search. They offer all different kinds of training as well. You may be eligible for free training. So, I encourage all people who are looking to go there and to identify all the opportunities that are there. And then lastly, there is a request for help in understanding what kind of childcare services would be beneficial. So last year, the Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development distributed a survey that was put together by the Department of Early Education, asking about childcare needs across various industries. And so looking at that data, they're now going out and they're having a couple of sessions that are called Business Dialogues, Childcare as the Backbone of the New Economy. And those are going to be held on September 14th at 11 and September 20th at 1. And, really looking for businesses to provide, their feedback and what they think, how the state's childcare industry can help meet their needs and those of their employees and their families in this post-COVID, economy. So I'll put that link in the chat as well. So if that's of interest, that you can participate, because we really do want to get your information, what you see is something that could be valuable for your organization.
Thank you, Susan, so much for that update. I know so many businesses are hiring new people, and so that training program, that express program you mentioned, can be very helpful to streamline the training process and get people up to speed, employees up to speed, so that the companies can recover.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. I mean, it's kind of a game changer now. I mean, you do have to front the cost of the training, but you can recoup 100%. So, you know, it's invaluable, really. So I'm delighted that they changed that. They modified one of their other programs and eliminated that program so that they could offer this to smaller businesses, which I think was a great idea.
Yeah, that is a great idea. Thank you for bringing that to us today. We appreciate it.
Pleasure.
Good to see you, and we look forward to seeing you again. So we're going to jump right to the Small Business Administration, the United States Small Business Administration. Daniel Martinianello is with us today from the Small Business Administration. And he's going to fill us in on some of the updates since we last met. Dan, are you there?
Hey, Chris, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Good afternoon, and thanks for
Good.
having us, jump on to this call. I know it's, very important for, small businesses to find out, what's the latest and greatest here at the SBA. And I know over the last year or so, things have changed, consistently over that time frame. So, a couple of things I definitely want to, touch base with.
Just wanted to, we can't see you, but I don't know if that's
Oh, sorry.
intentional or not. Okay, that's right. There you are. Okay, good.
Yep, there you go.
And
Sorry.
I did want, I was waiting to see you because I wanted to say, thank you for your service. You served 8 years in the U.S. Army, and you did a tour of Iraq. Thank you for your service.
Oh, thank you for saying that. Happy to do so. But like I was saying, we want to make sure that we try to, outline the latest and greatest when it comes to the SBA and what's going on. And we totally understand that, it can get confusing, at times. There's a variety of changes, and I'm going to outline some more changes that are happening, right now as we speak. So first I want to touch on is the economic injury disaster loan. Now, am I able to share my screen really quick? Because
Yes,
I just
Catherine can
threw up
allow you to do that. Yep.
Okay, yeah. Let me just I just want to throw this up so everybody has it, because I have some links on here too that I just want to share with folks. So hopefully everybody.
Yep, we can see it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so as far as some additional new guidance that came out with the economic injury disaster loan, what happened here, going for the last several months now, the loan limit was increased to $500,000. It was initially $150,000 for quite some time. Now that loan limit is going to be increased to $2 million. However, keep in mind, if you're a small business that is looking for that type of a significant increase, the SBA is only going to be approving loans below $500,000 over the next 20 days or so, or 30 days or so. So starting October 8th, anything 2 million above 500,000 is when they'll start approving those. One thing, too, that I want to stress is if you have not applied for the EIDL loan, or if you haven't applied for or requested an increase, definitely do so as soon as possible. We are hearing that although the program, the application period technically is going on until the end of the year, so the end of December, funds may run out prior to that. So we're trying to stress, if you are interested in this program, please apply right away. With that said, this is a loan program. This is not a grant program such as, the Paycheck Protection Program or the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program. So this is a long-term loan over 30 years. Rates typically for a for-profit business is at 3.75. If you're a nonprofit, it's at 2.75. It's fixed. It's got an extended deferment period of up to 24 months. And you can utilize this for a variety of reasons. So whether that's utilizing it for payroll expenses or your normal, monthly bills, accounts payable, now you can even utilize it to pay down your conventional loan debt. That includes prepayments. So that's something that is also new with the new guidance that just came out. And included in that is federal debt. Maybe you have an SBA loan. You can actually pay your regular monthly payments, with this program as well. So that's new as of September 8th. So a couple other things too you want to keep in mind that they've outlined in the new guidance is a minimum credit score for loans under 500,000 is at 570. Anything above that, you need a minimum credit score of 625. With that said, if your loan is going to be over 500,000, you'll want to ensure that you have a variety of supporting documents. You may, the SBA, the analysts and the review teams, they're going to be looking at what collateral you may have. They're going to be doing a full, underwriting. So, if you have a variety of partners in your business, make sure that they're aware that the SBA is going to look to find out, who's in control of your business. They want 100% ownership knowledge of that business. So you will be asked to provide much more information than, say, a loan that was like $50,000. But those are some of the biggest changes. Really utilizing this to pay down, conventional and federal debt if you have that currently on your books is a big proponent, because before it was basically utilized to pay expenses to operate your business had the pandemic not happened. So they've increased that a little bit more. And then,
and how they determine how much you're eligible for? It said up to 500 initially, then 2 million, but ultimately, how will they determine what they're offering you for a loan?
So they're going to look at your revenue. Typically, what they're going to do is look at your figures from 2019 for the most part. With the $2 million limit, they're going to be looking at a variety of expenses you have as well, and they're also going to be digging deeper into your 2020 figures. So you'll need to make sure that you have updated financial statements and things like that, because they are going to get more up-to-date knowledge on where your business stands currently, to make those decisions. So another thing too is this program, if you maybe just opened up your business recently within the last 6 months, this really isn't going to be a program that you'll be able to take advantage of, because these are businesses that have been predominantly in business before the pandemic happened. So just keep that.
Sorry, I was gonna say, is this the best program that is available right now? I know the PPP's kind of gone away.
Yeah, PPP is completely wound down. The restaurant revitalization fund is, that application period is over with. The SVOG, the Shuttered Venue Operators Grant Program, again, that's another program that the application period's over. So I know there's a lot of programs, but we also still have.
So this is the one, right? This is the one that people should be looking at. Okay.
For COVID relief, this is definitely the one. But again, keep in mind,
earned retention, employee retention credit, is that still available, or is that over too?
That is more on the IRS side of it.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure if that is still going on or not. I want to say I heard that's had some changes recently too, but I'm
okay.
That's more on the IRS side of.
I think Emma can find something on that, and I understand. Yeah, that's on the IRS side. Okay.
Yeah, but just keep in mind too, folks. I know everybody. It has a different situation with their small business. Not everybody needs, economic relief, but maybe you're looking to grow. Maybe you're looking to expand your business. Look into talking to a variety of our lending partners about potentially, your business expansion and your capital needs for that, because all of our normal flagship programs, whether it's the 7A program, the 504 program, or the microloan program, those are all up and running. And, I think we have Angie on from Seed.
Right.
Here with us, and she's a great partner. That her and our team at Seed, they do a lot, and they're involved a lot in the SBA programs and other programs that they have, at their office. So just keep in mind that all of those flagship programs are still up and running and kicking, and the lending community is out here, trying to help small businesses expand and grow. Still. I'm sorry, I think we have Rockland Trust too on here. They're another,
yes, exactly.
Great partner, as well, with the SBA. They do a lot. They're very knowledgeable folks over there. So, keep in mind, connect with your local lenders in your area. And just lastly too, I just want to, touch upon PPP forgiveness. So like Chris, I said, everything's kind of wound down as far as the application. That's, you know, no one can apply for that at this point, but people are still looking for forgiveness. So the SBA offered a direct forgiveness path, but our lending partners needed to sign up for that. So these are for borrowers that have PPP loans of $150,000 or less. This is something that you would submit your application directly through the SBA's forgiveness portal, and your lender would actually make the decision through that portal directly. You want to make sure that you want to check with your lender if they're a part of this program, because not every lender is a part of this. And if they're not a part of it, you want to just find out in what manner do you supply your forgiveness application and whatever supporting documents you need. And then even if they are a part of it, again, this is for loans of $150,000 or less. Reason being, nationwide, that covers about almost 90% of the PPP loans given out. So, you know, the other, 10% will still need to do it whatever processing method that their particular lender has. And then I just want to lastly just bring up a couple important links. Whenever you want to find out information on all the updates that I just talked about with the EIDL program and how to apply, this link here, and I'll make sure, Chris, you and your team, I can send this over to you so you can disperse that to the small businesses, making sure that they have the links. And then also too, as far as PPP forgiveness information, all of that again is on sba.gov. And then if you need information on what's going on here in Massachusetts on the federal level, and then, if you need to get connected with the variety of resource partners that we work with as well, whether it's SCORE, the Center for Women in Enterprise, the Small Business Development Centers, Veterans Business Outreach Center, make sure you check out our website. All of their links are on there as well. Easiest way to kind of get everybody's information in a kind of one-stop shop method.
Dan, thanks so much for being with us today, and again for your service. But also, I didn't highlight your 14 years in banking in the city of Salem, so that goes a long way, obviously, in your understanding. So it sounds like you are an army of one. You can do it all.
Yeah, we do a little of everything.
Tell Eli we said hello as well. I know he was drawn to another meeting. We hope to see you and him back again another time. So thank you.
Anytime. Thanks for having me.
So Dan mentioned Rockland Trust. Rockland Trust is, people don't realize this. They hold more deposits in the city of Brockton than any other bank and financial institution. So they are a force in the city and in the region. And we're happy to have Grant Nickerson with us today. Grant has been representing Rockland Trust with the chamber for a number of years, along with Jerry Nadeau, who they serve as colleagues at the bank. So Grant, I'm going to run through a couple of questions you and I talked about a little bit, and just to kind of give people a sense of a local bank, a large bank in our area, how it's going. And then we're going to talk to Angie over at C Corporation, because I know the three of you, really, SBA, Rockland Trust, and C Corporation, really do work closely together to help businesses, small businesses. So how can businesses prepare themselves for a changing economic environment?
Thanks for having me, Chris. By the way, it's a pleasure to be here. But on the handling changes in the business environment, there's a few things you can do. One, identify changes and trends in your cash flow. Business owners should really ask themselves if they're going to be okay if the revenues are flat from prior year. And if not, or even if they're not sure, now's the time to start looking for ways to conserve capital. Also, businesses should maintain accurate financial statements. Not everybody likes that. It's not fun, but in spite of the chaos, tracking and maintaining quality of financials should be continued priority. Some folks are just consumed by day-to-day operations that they don't really have a chance to look at their own stuff. So they're surprised once they finally do get around to looking at it. Geez, I'm spending this much on meals and entertainment or whatever. So also the more frequently you check in, the better. You can identify certain trends that maybe you weren't aware of before or aren't obvious. And that's really the only way to prepare is to know where your financials stand and have an honest picture of that. And lastly, I'd also recommend maintaining or building, if you haven't already, a team of trusted advisors. Ideally, you should have a team of people you trust, including a CPA, an attorney, banker, and insurance provider. Having a team will make updating your goals and business strategy easy and provide you with guidance necessary to plan your next move.
That's great. Thank you for that overview. So a number of companies have been hit pretty hard by COVID-19. What resources are Rockland Trust making available to these businesses, not just your customers, but other businesses that might need help?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, as Dan mentioned, everybody knows the PPP program is exhausted. Dan also described all the changes to the EIDL EIDL program, which is very useful. One thing I will say about that is it's great. It's a great deal. It's long-term, cheap money, but if you don't need it, you shouldn't take it. For the one reason, you're taking it from somebody else that might need it. And the other one, from my perspective, is these EIDL loans, they come with a UCC filing, so the SBA takes a lien on your business assets. So if you then turn around and want to go get a conventional loan down the road, whatever bank you're with is going to be behind the SBA, and so it's pretty tough to get them to subordinate, or then you might have to pay it off. So it's a whole thing. So if you don't need it, don't take it. You can also look at conventional loans, lines of credit, that can give some flexibility to deal with the payables receivable cycle. Organizations like our friends at Seed, they have a lot of options that typical banks don't, including micro and smaller micro loans and things like that. If you're still in difficult circumstances, you should really talk to that team of trusted advisors that I mentioned. If you don't have a meaningful relationship with your banker or CPA, I'm sure the chamber can make some introductions. I say meaningful because you may have a bank, but maybe it's not a great relationship. It's really, you want to have folks that understand your business. I'm always happy to talk to anybody and try and help out as best I can. You can reach out to me at Rockland Trust. And the banker, the CPA, can identify certain trends using those accurate financials I talked about, and maybe identify some opportunities to save some costs and cut some expenses, and hopefully provide some support to get your business back on track.
Great, Grant. I know Rockland has a really robust business assistance portal with workshops that are now being run mostly virtually. Can you tell us a little bit about what's coming up on that front?
Yes. Yep, we have a few, specifically one coming up in October. It's a webinar called Businesses Powered by Women, and it's going to be on Wednesday, October 20th at 10:30 a.m. We'll be hosting a panel of local female business owners who are, they'll share details about their business journey and offer tools and guidance for aspiring business owners. My colleague Mary Scanlon is on this call. She's going to share a link to that. We also have a bunch of webinars on our website we're very proud of. Anyone can watch those on demand, topics such as succession planning, cash flow, fraud prevention, and more. And you can access those through the link that Mary Scanlon looks like she just posted.
That's great, Grant. Thanks so much. Rockland Trust, again, is a large holder of deposits and lender in the commercial community in Brockton. And I know you are very accessible. You come to all of the chamber programs and events and support programs like this. So I want to thank you personally and professionally for your support. And we look forward to seeing you again in the weeks ahead.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Chris.
Thank you, Grant. So now I want to go on to Angie LaPriere, who is with Seed Corporation. She started out as an intern, like many of us, right, and worked her way up, and now she's running the show, right? No, she's not running the whole place yet, but she does everything, and she's really the face in our region of Seed Corporation. Seed Corporation is a collection of entities that banks and financial institutions that help provide access to funding for small businesses, especially businesses that are just getting up and running or are growing and need additional gap financing, we call it. So Angie, I know Rockland Trust is a major supporter. I know Jerry Nadeau, was your chair a few years ago, and that kind of rotates around to different banks. Welcome, and what can you tell us about the 7A and the 504 and what's available at Seed?
So thank you so much. Corporation's been around since 1992. We're really here as a lender in the region, financing businesses both in Rhode Island.
Angie, you might have to lean into the camera because your voice is going in and out.
Is this better?
Yeah, that is better. The closer, the better.
All right, awesome. Sorry about that.
All right.
So we've been around since 1982, and we're really here to provide financing to businesses in both Massachusetts and Rhode Island, to be able to help typically when the bank cannot provide the financing that the business is looking for. So, you know, when you're looking for financing, your first step should always be to your bank or credit union that you have a relationship with. That's really your best bet because they have different variety of products. They can provide term loans and lines of credit for businesses. So for us at Seed, you know, we're here filling that gap again, either partnering with the bank if they can't do the entire project, or we can provide financing on our own if the bank cannot provide the financing. So, you know, our programs are very specific, but they have a great use and flexible use of funds as well. So we are located in Taunton, but like I said, we can cover pretty much the entire state. So if you're looking for financing and you can't get that traditional financing, you know, our programs can go anywhere from $1,000 microloan up to $50,000. So we're an SBA microlender, and then we also have various state and federal grants as well. So for the grant funding, we can do loans up to $250,000. Unlike a traditional bank, a lot of our funding sources and guidelines are driven by job creation for the business. So depending on the industry you're in and how many jobs you're creating or retaining, that can actually have a big effect on how much we're able to lend. So that's something I always like to talk about because it's not something you would necessarily know as a business owner. So the SBA microloan program is not actually submitted to SBA. It's just where we receive our funding from, unlike the 7A and the 504 program where we actually have to get SBA's approval. But the program is wonderful. It's really flexible, and it can be for both startup and existing businesses. So we can do a pure startup with no financial history, or if you're an existing business, we have funding available for you as well. And the interest rate typically is at 6%, and it can go up to a 7-year term. And there's no prepayment penalty. So that is an excellent feature as well. You can pay it off early without any fees, which is great, a great option to have. Our small loan program, you know, goes up to $250, typically the same. If we're working with a bank, our interest rate will actually drop to 5%. And the interest rates will be fixed for the entire life of the loan. So they won't vary. If you meet our lending program requirements in terms of credit and collateral and cash flow, the interest rate will be that 5 or 6%. It's not going to vary depending on your credit. Sometimes other micro lenders will have a variable credit score or their interest rate. Variable interest rate, or their interest rate will be higher if you have a lower credit score. So looking at credit scores of like 600 and above for our programs.
So Angie, there was time recently through this federal government that they were making payments for some of the 504 and 7A loans, yeah, and they were waiving fees. Is that still happening? So
that's a great question. So luckily, SBA has done a great job with all of their borrowers. If you received SBA funding, they have been paying. There was a time period where they were paying 6 months, and it wasn't a deferment. They were truly paying your principal and interest payments that wasn't going to be passed on to you. So that went into effect automatically. It wasn't something that the borrower had to apply for. There have been fees waived, and like under the 7A, there was a higher guarantee fee. There were fees waived by SBA in the 504 program. There was a bank participation fee that's passed on to the client that's waived, and a CDC processing fee. So those fees are waived, but because of, unfortunately, the 504 program recently ran out of funding as of Tuesday this week. So that has never happened in the history of 504, and it's a very unique situation, but because of the extremely low interest rates and just the popularity of the program this year. And as any of you that have worked with the 504 know, that there's been extremely delayed response times from 504 just because of their share volume. So
So there must be a queue in place of businesses that didn't get approved. Is there any sign that that will be refunded?
So right now, the guidance that we're receiving, we had really gotten a pretty set, finalized heads up that the funding would run out the week of September 5th, and that it did. And that was based on about 700 applications that were already uploaded to SBA for the 504 and that were in the queue.
Okay.
That funding did run out on Tuesday. So the ones that were in there that didn't meet that deadline, they're still being reviewed. So the government isn't shutting down,
Okay.
continue to review. So on our end, or as the CDCs, we're going to continue as usual. We're going to get our approval from committee, get them uploaded to SBA, and they'll be reviewed, and they'll just ultimately won't be able to issue a loan number or a loan authorization once your loan is approved until at least October 1st in the new fiscal year.
Right. So a lot of people don't realize the federal government's budget is not January 1st and it's not July 1st. It's October 1st. So it just
Correct.
kind of ran out just before the new budget comes in.
It
Right?
did. And luckily it's not 3 months ahead of the end of the fiscal year. You know, it's only a few weeks. And like I said, the applications that are in are going to continue to be reviewed.
That's
and,
great.
you know, the authorizations we're hoping will kind of fly out of the queue as of October 1st. The downside is the applications that are going up now, if they didn't meet that deadline before funding ran out, those fees that were being waived, they're not going to be able to benefit from. So in the either that with the fees or the what they call the 112 relief payment. So,
Yeah.
Anything that's going up to SBA, within the last, few weeks, even because those probably didn't meet that deadline, or anything going up from here on out is unfortunately not going to be able to benefit from those fees being waived. But there's a lot of push for all the lenders reaching out to Congress that they may reinstitute some funding. There's a lot of questions on whether there's funding from like the refinance program that can be reallocated. As of now, that is not happening. But the push to Congress, we're hoping that perhaps we can at least get another week or so in of reviews if they can pass this along and allow that to be able to have some businesses benefit. But I wouldn't count on it. I would say that it would be just a plus at this point if that can happen. But they did roll out excellent programs with paying for existing clients' payments, and then also having these fees waived and a higher guarantee on the 7A loan program. So a lot of great things businesses have really, really benefited from this year that typically haven't been the case in the past.
Well, thank you, Angie, for being part of that and helping businesses access those benefits to get back on their feet.
Absolutely.
And we'll continue to support and promote SEED. We'll also reach out to Congress and help advocate for extension of those covering those fees or waiving those fees.
Yeah.
Because it does make the difference for a lot of our small businesses that are recovering. So thank you very much for all you're doing. And please, if you haven't checked out SEED, please do so. I know your information has been posted by Emma Stratton on our staff. So
yeah,
it's there. So I just wanted to kind of close out. We're coming up on the hour. The Chamber has several events coming up on September 21st. You heard the mayor mention the Brockton Business Conversation is going to be continued. There's actually a whole day of small business programs from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Westgate Mall on, September 21st, 8 to 4 at Westgate Mall. And then there'll be a business after hours at Lawando's, which is beautiful, wonderful food from 5 to 7. All are welcome to that. We have a ribbon cutting at Vitra Health, new business that just opened, new organization, healthcare organization, on September 22nd at 11 a.m. Again, that's in person and outside, but you're welcome to that. And legislative reception, it's our 31st annual legislative reception at Stonehill College. We will likely be out on the veranda there on October 7th. And that's 5 to 7:30. That's always a great event, and it draws a lot of people, including the governor came a couple times. We've had Congress, members of Congress, we've had the mayor, we've had members running for office from different levels of government. So please come out to that. And then Good Day Metro South this Friday. the 22nd of October at Thorny Lee Golf Club. We hope to be indoors that day, and we hope that things will be more back to normal at that point. We'll keep you posted on all these. Like you, we're pretty much making calls 2 weeks out based on what we see and what the government advises. And we sure hope to see you all again then or before then. We'll be back in touch with the next date of this COVID recovery call series. And good day, Metro South. And we look forward to seeing you then. Have a great weekend. Take care. Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you.